Okay, hey guys, welcome to today's episode on the Playmaker podcast. Today, I have one of my hometown girls on the podcast with me. Her name is Kenzie Centers, and
Mhm.
she is a couple years older than me. We went to Woodford County High School together, and actually, her little sister was like one of the girls in my girl gang all through middle and high school. And so, I have gotten to keep up with her, one, just because we're from the same town, but also through social media. And she has a really cool story to share, and I'm so excited to hear about it. She is a personal trainer and a nutritionist, and so she is in the health field and loves helping people get control of their health and reach their goals. So,
Mhm.
Kenzie, thank you so much for
Yes.
coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. Okay, let's jump right in. Will you just
Okay.
go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey, like when you started to focus on your health?
So I would say going into freshman year of college, well, so growing up, I've always been an active person. Our parents made us play at least one sport. Um, and my mom, she grew up in an era where like I feel like they loved to try the fad diets. So she continued to do that like as raising us, and we just kind of like ate what she would eat. So we always ate like pretty healthy. Um, I did have a lot of stomach issues growing up, and I ended up having to get my gallbladder removed. But it just wasn't functioning properly, so it just constantly made me feel nauseous. That led me to just being more conscious about what I was putting in my body because without a gallbladder, it's harder for your body to process certain foods. So I had to be really conscious about that going into college. And then I actually started dating a guy right before college, and he was really into working out, and I had never stepped foot into like an actual gym. Like my activities growing up were sports related, but like we never did weight room activities. And so he kind of got me into that. Um, Went to UK, didn't rush freshman year. So I just had like a lot of time to myself. And so I really kind of relied on going to the gym and being active just outside, and then also focusing more on what I was putting into my body food wise. um, that led me not intentionally to be overactive and then under eating. So I just became very very thin, and I mean, this whole process, I feel like, kind of continued throughout my entire college life until senior year of college. I was just so thin, always so tired and fatigued because I wasn't fueling my body with enough um, energy to even like function. And I was sick all the time, and even my hair even started thinning because I was just like
Mm-hmm.
so malnourished. Um, so my mom had started doing the Faster Way program, and that entails like four different aspects with health and nutrition. She just wanted me to start out tracking my macronutrients. So we didn't even start doing carb cycling or intermittent fasting or their focused workouts. I literally just started tracking my macronutrients. And come to find out, I was only eating 700 to 900 calories, which is not what a growing or like a young female needs. Like
Right.
we can easily eat.
Especially with, like,
Yeah.
walking across campus, like you were saying before we
Yes.
started this, it's so
Yes.
like, you're so active when you don't even intend to be, and
Yes,
so we have
exactly.
to
Yeah.
fuel our bodies.
Walking across campus, I have always been like, I love tracking my steps. It's motivating me to just keep moving my body throughout the day.
Right.
But I would get like 10 or 15,000 steps a day while carrying a backpack. Then I would also go and work out, and was wasn't eating enough. And especially protein. Wasn't eating enough protein. Carbs were the devil to me. There's so many different things that play a part into our health because
Mhm.
of society. So,
Yes.
you see like the keto diets and high fat foods and things like that. Like, and even things like, one thing that I find so funny is like something like bacon or jasmine rice
Mhm.
that society has made so unhealthy. Like, you can eat that kind of stuff. It's whole food
Yes.
nutrition and it will fuel your body properly and that
Mhm.
type of thing. Um, so here I am 2 years later, completely. I put on 10 pounds of pure muscle, which my body needed. I've maintained it the last 2 years. Um, And I think most importantly, I'm the most confident in myself, I'm the strongest, and I'm the healthiest that I've ever been. And you
Mhm.
should be when you're this young. You
Yes.
know? So, yeah.
Yes,
That's kind of how I got
absolutely.
into the faster way and into, I guess, that because it has changed me so much, I wanted to help others change.
Yes, I
Yes.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
Yes.
I wanna jump back to something you said because you talked
Okay.
about how thin you had gotten.
Mhm.
And one of the things that came out earlier this year was I don't know if you saw the Cosmopolitan magazine cover of obese women that said, "This is healthy." And when I
Yes.
saw that, I realized like their intentions with that were really good because we do see people who are on magazine covers that are
Mhm.
teeny tiny and we think like that is healthy. But and you were that, but you
Yes.
weren't healthy. So they did
Yeah.
the complete opposite, which we know obesity is not healthy either. Like there has
Yes.
to
Yes.
be a middle ground there. But
Yes.
I just love what you say because like my journey is the complete opposite where I
Mhm.
was way heavier than I needed to be and I had to lose weight, but you actually you might have
I
looked
needed to
healthy on the
gain weight.
outside,
Yeah.
but you needed to gain weight. And
Yes.
that
Yes.
a lot of people don't see that. And that is so
Yeah.
true and I love how you've like authentically shared that on your social media and everything.
Yes. And I just think like one, like you said, and I have tons of opinions on how people portray like you said, obesity is not healthy, and they did
Mhm.
have really good intentions with that magazine cover.
Mhm.
But also, like, we don't need to instill like, well, because I'm obese, it's okay to be that way now. You know, like
Right.
it is 100% okay to have curves and to have muscle and to
Mhm.
not be a size zero. Like
Right.
if you need to be a size four, me and you both are really tall.
Yes.
It is bone wise not logical for our bodies to easily fit into a size 2 gene. Like we have to work
Right.
really hard to be a size 2. You
Mhm.
know, so for us to be a size 4 to 8, that's so normal. And
Yes.
the size of your pants, I feel like that should not determine whether you're healthy or not. The
Exactly.
size of your pants should not be your goal.
Yeah.
Your goal should be to feel overall healthy, and and blood test and going to the doctor and your annual physical will tell you if you're healthy.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And because when you are healthy and you're at that place where you are like thriving yourself because you're taking care of
Hmm.
yourself, then you can go and do what you've done and have served people better.
Yes.
Where if
Yes.
you're not,
No,
you
I
can't do it as
100%
well.
agree. Yes. Yes. And that's one thing that I always tell my clients. Like, it's so important for you to take care of yourself so you can take care of your families. If you don't
Yes.
take care of yourself, how are you taking care of others?
Right.
You know,
Right.
and
It's
where
so
I
important.
feel we're put on this on the earth, and God made us as servers. So, and I don't know if you've heard of the devotional, it's blanking. I have it in another bedroom. But she had mentioned just taking time to, you know, nourish yourself so then you can serve others, because
Mhm.
I feel like people think health and fitness is such a vain thing,
Mhm.
and like, oh, well, you're just doing that because you want to be thin and you want other people to praise you for being thin.
Right.
And I think there probably is a mental part, like, you know, looking the way that I look gives me confidence. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Right.
Um, but I feel good in the way that I look, and I feel like I have energy to then serve others. And I think
Yes.
that's also what God wants us to do, is to have
Yes.
the energy to serve others. So there's
Exactly.
no it's not bad to take time to do that for yourself, and I think making people realize that, like, it's okay to love yourself and
Mhm.
to put time back into yourself so then you can give back to others.
Yes. I just
Yeah.
wanna, like, put that, like, on a billboard, like, everyone needs to hear
Yes.
that, that was so good. So good. Okay, so now you mentioned intermittent fasting and carb cycling and macronutrients. Those
Yes.
are completely foreign topics to some people. Can
Yes,
you
they are.
break down each of those? Like, what are they and why are they important?
Yes, and honestly, I love that health and nutrition is very science-based because, there's data to show that it actually works, but it's very hard for me to remember certain things, so I wrote it
Mhm.
down.
Love it.
Um,
Preparation.
yes, so intermittent fasting, is not a diet, it's just an eating schedule.
Mhm.
So typically you'll see if even if you just googled what is intermittent fasting, you'll see that you'll fast for 16 hours and you'll eat for 8. What that means is um, or I guess an example is you can start eating at noon and you stop eating at 8 p.m. So then you just fast the next day from the time you stop eating at night, and then again the next day you eat at noon. So
Mhm.
you're just allowing your body to have digestive rest. There's a lot of different benefits to intermittent fasting, and somebody that comes from like I have struggled with digestive issues. I think that's the number one thing that I see is it does actually help my digestive issues. Um, it also reduces inflammation. It improves your sleep. You'll have a like mental clarity in the morning. So I'm like most productive before I start eating.
Mhm.
um, better digestion and gut health, decrease blood glucose levels, improved hormone health, which is like great for women,
Yeah.
um, maintenance of skeletal muscle mass. So a lot of people think like, well, if I work out at 6 a.m., I need to eat right after because
Mhm.
that's just what society has taught us over the years. Um, I'm somebody who like I wake up and I work out immediately. I have not noticed any like my muscle mass stays on me and I've been able to put on 10 pounds of muscle. So like it's okay to work out before you break your fast. And
Mhm.
it doesn't like you don't have to work if you were going to eat at noon, you didn't have to work out at 11 just so you could eat at noon.
Right, right.
Um, I will say over the years of just doing this myself and incorporating this into my lifestyle, there are some days where like I'm hungry at 11 or I'm hungry at 10. And
Mhm.
I'm someone that and I preach this to my clients, like any fast is a good fast. If you feel like you're hungry, then you need to eat. You do need to fuel your body. You don't need to be like, well, the program says I need to wait until noon.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to starve until noon and be miserable.
Mhm.
So listening to your body throughout that process is really important. And I've also found that people like to try intermittent fasting by themselves, which,
Mhm.
I'm all for trying new things. But if you're going to try intermittent fasting, it's so important to make sure that you're eating enough. So
Mhm.
because it is a restricted time window, you need to make sure that you still get in, all of your calories and macronutrients in that time frame.
Mhm.
And just to make sure that you're eating enough. So then the next day when you go to fast again, you actually can make it
Yes.
to noon.
Mhm.
Um, so that's a little bit of intermittent fasting. I think that's my favorite part of the program is the intermittent fasting and the tracking macronutrients.
Mhm.
Carb cycling is another piece that we use, and it is um, variations of carb consumption. So we play around with our carbs and fats, and carbs and fats are what gives our bodies energy. So they're our primary energy sources. Um, both have different roles in our metabolism. So I'm sure you've heard of the keto diet.
Right.
Low carb days or carb cycling is very similar to that,
Mhm.
in the sense that when you do restrict your carbs on a low carb
Mhm.
day, you want to increase your fats. So you do want to, make sure that you're eating, red meat is really high in fat and also protein. Things like hemp hearts, chia seeds, eggs are really high in fat and that type of thing. Um, just to balance out, we don't want you doing a low carb day and then like not eating enough.
Mhm.
If you restrict your carbs and don't increase anywhere else, you're going to be so hungry.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be good and you're not going to see the results that you want.
Yeah, and I
um,
think that's where the keto diet falters because it doesn't talk about that. It's just low carb everything. And then
yes.
you are depleting like and then once you do eat carbs again, your body holds on to all of them because it's like I don't know
Exactly.
when she's going to give it to me again and I've needed this.
Yes, and I think that's another important thing is, like, anytime that you try something, and just throughout, like, the last 2 years of me tracking macronutrients, it's been very eye-opening, like, I'll switch up my food cycle sometimes just to, you know, bump my metabolism again and not be
Mhm.
in, like, a place of comfort, and also, like,
Mhm.
for me, the health and nutrition side of things is more mental than, like, working out. Working out, like, it's so easy, I can easily go into the gym anytime, but, like, the nutrition aspect of things and is, like, a very mental, sometimes can
Yeah.
even still be, like, a struggle for me,
Yeah.
um, just because, like, when you're comfortable with something, like, you don't wanna change it because it's working, but, like,
Mhm.
the only way that you're gonna continue to grow is to change and challenge yourself, and
Mhm.
so, like, I still even need to do that sometimes,
Mhm.
so I think anytime that you try something new, it's important to track macronutrients, and that's, like, the one thing that I'm, like, so strict about. So macronutrients are your carbs, fats, and proteins, and I just have people track them in MyFitnessPal. I have found that that's the easiest app to track them in. We don't necessarily focus on the calorie piece of things because if you consume all of your carbs, fats, and proteins, you should meet your calorie intake.
Mhm.
Um, and there's different macronutrient splits that you can do. Some people like to eat more protein and less carbs, and then like the same amount of fat. Which everybody's body is different, so that
Mhm.
kind of thing you kind of have to play around with. But even when you try something like low carb or the keto diet, you need to track it because I guarantee you, you're not actually doing low carb
Mhm.
until you track it. Like you could still be eating carbs um, that are not fiber rich, which is that's like the biggest piece in like a low carb day is you want to focus on fiber. So it's low carb, not no carb. So things like
Mm.
berries are a carb because it's fruit, but it's so
Mhm.
high in fiber. Your green vegetables are carbs, but they're so high in fiber that it's basically going to cancel each other out.
Mhm.
Um, so that type of thing. So yeah,
Yeah, and
and
I think that go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that the two different energy sources, so like on low carb days, we focus on high fat foods and we want to increase our fats. That trains
Mhm.
your body to burn fat for fuel. On the days
Mm.
where we focus on just meeting our macronutrients and increasing those carbs back up and reducing the fat, um, that allows your body to build muscle and you're gonna like feel more energized. So all you're doing is depleting your glycogen stores for 2 days and then refilling them. That's
I
kinda
love
like the
it.
science part of it.
Mhm. That's awesome, and that's so helpful. Thank you for explaining that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that your whole point about that was like just hit the head on the nail about why it's so important to have a coach. Because
Yes.
if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room. Like there is always a
Yes.
way we can be growing. And I think it's important to have someone above us, with us, and below us. And
Mhm.
that is what you serve. You serve as the above us for your clients. And that's
Mhm.
so important because
Yes.
one, community and
Love the
accountability, but
community. Yes.
yes. But then the actual coaching part of like, you realize I wasn't getting enough and I didn't know until I started tracking it. I needed
Mhm.
someone who knew more about this to help me get there. I love
Yes.
that.
No, I 100% agree. And a lot of my clients do find that the accountability piece and me forcing them to check in with me every single day is actually, like, their favorite part. And then
Mhm.
also, like, at the end, so the initial program is 6 weeks, but you're not going to be where you want to be in 6 weeks. That's unrealistic. So it can continue on to be, you can make it a lifestyle um, to get where you want to be. But
Mhm.
also that they just have like they can eat so much more than what
Mhm.
society has told them or what they have told themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's so good. So, Kenzie, tell me, like, how has your relationship with food changed as you've started with the faster way and really changing what you're eating and why you're eating?
So I would say, I had mentioned that in college I wasn't intentionally under eating. I just kind of I ate what I wanted, but also was very mindful about like because I have stomach issues, there are certain things that I should probably not eat. I ended up trying the keto diet, um, and definitely failing, but
Mhm.
uh, in that carbs are bad. And so when I started tracking and saw that, oh my gosh, I need to eat 250 grams of carbs, that's going to destroy me and I'm going to blow up.
Yeah.
That was like a huge mental thing, a huge mental thing for me to get over. And it is like a lot of my clients have that issue too, just because like,
Mhm.
jasmine rice is deemed as this terrible thing in society, or
Yes.
like a baked potato. And
Mhm.
all of those things are they're whole food nutrition. And I think that's the biggest thing I try to focus on is whole food nutrition, which I define as anything that comes from the ground and anything that has a mother. So as long as it's one of those two things, it's, you can 100% have it. Um,
Mhm.
in college, I felt like I was in this, well, I'll just be good Monday through Thursday, and then Thursday I might go out with friends, and then we might get like a Mad Mush pizza.
Mhm.
Friday we're recovering, so I'm obviously going to need fast food.
Yes.
Saturday it was just kind of like, well, I've already eaten bad those 2 days. Let's just continue. But
Yep.
so it was just this really bad, um, I guess, restrictive and then binging type of thing.
Mhm.
And actually, I feel like I haven't talked about this even on my social media platform, like about like I wouldn't necessarily had said that like I had an eating disorder, but I definitely
Mhm.
like reflecting and looking back on it, like I definitely had a binging issue
Mhm.
and would like eat so much to the point where like I would just feel nauseous. Like come
Mhm.
Sunday, it was like, oh my gosh, I just feel so nauseous. And then it was like I felt bad for doing that. So then I would
Yeah, the
then restrict
guilt.
again. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I have learned that even now, like focusing on whole foods, and I'm in a place of maintenance. So I don't have to necessarily be like hit the nail on all of my macronutrients every
Mhm.
single day. So I allow myself, and just tracking your food, like a lot of people have issues tracking their food, and I know that tracking your food can lead to eating disorders.
Eating
Eating
disorders. Yeah.
disorders.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I have found this balance of I track my food Monday through Thursday, and then Friday
Mhm.
through Sunday I eat intuitively.
Mhm.
And I think if you have tracked your food for a month to 3 months and you know what your body needs
Mhm.
to be fueled, you can eat intuitively.
Mhm.
I don't think this is me getting off on a little tangent, but I don't think anybody can eat intuitively if they don't know what they need to fuel your body. You'll most
Mhm.
likely end up either under or overeating in one area.
Yeah.
Um, and so I could sit here and tell you what 4 ounces of chicken looks like because I've measured it so much and I know
Mhm.
what it looks like.
Right.
So, today when I have dinner, like I don't track anything in MyFitnessPal Friday through Sunday just to give myself a mental break and feel like, you know, I'm enjoying my life.
Mhm.
Um, but I do eat intuitively and I don't try this past year during COVID actually is really when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still binging so badly just
Mhm.
because I had this mentality that I was restricting myself, but
Mhm.
tracking my macronutrients, I wasn't restricting myself. I ate like all my carbs, all my fats, and all my proteins, and they were good foods and they made my body feel good. And so I just got to the point where on the weekends, come Sunday night, I just hated feeling sluggish and bloated and nauseous because I had binged again. And
Mhm.
so now I feel like I have this mentality of, okay, if we go out to eat, I'm not going to track. I'm not going to worry about if I have chips and salsa. You know,
Mhm.
will chips and salsa potentially upset my stomach because I'm not used to eating foods like that? Like I might have a little bit of acid reflux,
Mhm.
but it's not going to destroy my progress,
Right.
you know? And I think that was the thing that I had to this past year that I really focused on. Like now I don't binge eat on the weekends. And so
Mhm.
and if I want a dessert, and during COVID I recently found my love for baking.
Mhm.
Um, so like I bake every single weekend and like I'll have the dessert Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it will be okay.
Mhm.
And I think that's like your relationship with food is just such a mental thing. And
Yeah.
I think it really depends on where your mental state is. So,
Mhm. It
yeah.
so is. And that's, like, the thing with choices and, like, making this a
Yes.
lifestyle and not a diet. Because
Yes.
if you wanna make a choice and eat something, like, own the choice and be good with that. That's okay. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you have to
Yes.
blow your whole day.
Yes,
Because
I
that's where
100% agree.
diets come in. Yeah. I
Yes.
love that.
And I saw one girl talk on Instagram. Um, she had picked up donuts for her daughter, and she was like, you know, I feel like it's really important for my daughter to see me eat foods that I don't typically eat during the week.
Mhm.
And so she was like, I'm going to have the donut with my daughter, and I'm going to have one donut. And I will then, after this donut, I will continue to eat healthy and it will be fine. And I just
Mhm.
thought that was like a really good example. Like, you want others to see you, especially if you have kids, but we all have an influence on the world. So you want others to see you have that healthy, balanced lifestyle too.
Yes. You never know
Yeah.
who's watching, especially with
Yes.
kids. They're
Yes.
so
Especially with
watching.
kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
that just gave me chills because that's so good and so important, and I know you
Yes.
work with a lot of moms, I work with a lot of moms, and
Yes.
that is they want to make a lifestyle change, but it's so important for us to still show other people that are in our sphere of influence that it's
Yes.
okay to eat a donut. Like, it is
Yes. Yes.
okay.
When I think the other side too is I also nanny. So I nanny two kids and they're 10 and 8. So
Mhm,
I see it on both ends. Like I help kids, but I also help moms. And so
mhm,
I think, it's even okay to like inform your kids that vegetables are good for you and to like
mhm,
open their eyes to um just new foods and things like
mhm,
that. So I make this one thing. This is just like a fun little side story. I was watching the kids after school one day, and I had brought raspberry chia seed jam, and it's literally like just a cup of raspberries, a tablespoon of chia seeds, and I mash it in a pot so it gets warm and everything melts.
mhm,
And then I just put peanut butter with mine, and it tastes like a healthy peanut butter and jelly.
mhm,
So the little girl was watching me eat that, and she asked if I could make her some. She's very picky, so I was
mhm,
not like, I didn't have hope that she was gonna fall in love with it.
mhm,
And especially because, like, we didn't add any sugars to it. Like,
mhm.
it was just plain raspberries.
Yeah.
And I ended up making her some, and, like, she asks for it all the time. So instead of
Mm,
her being like, "Can I have, like, my strawberry preserves with toast?" Like, she'll come home from school and ask for raspberry chia jam, which I just
mhm.
think is cool because, like, they need nutrient dense food too to
Yes.
grow and to be
Yes,
healthy
absolutely.
and that type of thing too. So,
Mhm. Yes, leading by example. I love that.
yes, yes,
Okay, so you're clearly super passionate about what you do and why you do it. So just tell us,
yes.
like, why did you start coaching and helping others? And, like, why does that fill your love bucket?
So, I think um I think being this is going to sound very cheesy probably, but I am the oldest of 3
Mhm.
and
Me too.
um yes, so I just feel like I have this natural like I not that I took care of them, but I felt like I always had to be a role model and I wanted to help them growing up and
Mhm.
that type of thing? So I feel
Yeah.
like it was instilled in me as a child, but then
Mhm.
also this is gonna if have you ever taken the Enneagram test?
Oh, girl, I love the Enneagram.
Oh, me too. I'm a diehard 2 with a small wing 3. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, I am the helper. And it
Mhm.
literally describes me to a T. Like all of those little graphics that I see on Instagram or like even
Mhm.
just reading the definitions on the Enneagram website, like it is me. And
Yeah.
so I just think that and like that has helped me really just knowing that I identify as a helper has
Mhm.
really given me the confidence to like want to help others,
Mhm.
and um and also just like me finding so much confidence through health and fitness,
Mhm.
I want to help others find
Yeah.
confidence in that too. And I think it's like the health and fitness industry. I mean, it can just, some people are in it for the wrong reasons, and like I said, like a lot of people think it's such a vain thing, but I really want people to like just feel good in themselves, you know?
Yes.
Like it's not about how much weight you lose. I
Mhm.
would if that's your goal, I would love to help you with that. But
Right.
I also want you to, one, be able to make it a lifestyle, and two, find this inner confidence in yourself so then you can
Mhm.
go on to help others. That type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
Um so, and I live by the quote, like, live your life to the fullest. So I want,
Mhm.
because I live my life to the fullest and don't hold back on anything, I want others to be able to live their lives to the fullest, whatever that might
Mhm.
be, but I want that for them. So I feel like
Yeah.
if I help them, um, and the fact that it's science based, like, there is science behind this. It's not, I don't know. Like,
No, I know what you mean.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, I can't
Yes.
find the words.
Yes. No, I know what you mean.
Yes. Yeah. And
And I
I don't
think
know.
that's so encouraging, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here because I can see your heart for people, and, I'm a 7 wing 8. I'm the
Okay.
enthusiast. I love people
I can
so much,
100% see that. Yes.
and it's really easy to make me excited about things,
Yes.
and I like, where you like, your desire is to help people, my desire is to love people and,
Motivate
like, get
them.
excited about things. Yes,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's one of the reasons it's so fun, and, like, we do completely different things with health and wellness,
Mhm.
like, I
Yes.
am not a personal trainer, I had to go get one because I don't know enough about that,
Yes. Yes.
and I
Well,
don't.
I
Go
think it's
ahead.
also very important to say that, like, even though I am a personal trainer, I think it's very important for me to, like you said, like, you know, if you're the smartest one in the room, get another room. So, like,
Yes,
I have a personal trainer because
yes, I love that.
I need motivation too, and I need to know
Mhm.
that I'm doing it correctly, and I need
Yeah,
somebody to push me. So,
yeah,
I think it's important for personal trainers to also have personal trainers, and for, nutritionists to also have like a community that they can go to too, just
yes,
for accountability, and then just so they feel like 100% taken care of in that aspect, so
yeah,
then they can
yeah,
continue to help others. Because
yes,
you can't
exactly.
do it all yourself. I have learned that, and it is okay to
Mhm.
ask for help.
Yes, yes, it might
Yeah.
not be easy, but it is okay, and
Yes.
that's huge. Like, I have a coach, and that's super. Even though I coach others, I do have a coach in multiple aspects of my life,
Yeah.
and that's important,
Yes.
just like we were talking
Yes.
about. But
Yes, I agree.
your desire is to see people get healthy and reach their goals and be able to go live their life to the fullest, which
Yes.
even though we do different things and, like, with our own diets and, like, how we eat,
Yeah.
like, I can see your heart, and my goal is for people to get healthy too, and if it is with doing this intermittent fasting with the faster way, then, oh my
Yes.
goodness, please go do that. That is why,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I wanted you to come on and show that because the goal is for people to get healthy and get to go live the lives they love, which starts
Yes.
with your health.
Yes, I 100% agree. You have to heal from the inside out. And
Mhm.
nutrition is going to heal you from the inside, and then
Yes.
the fitness aspect is the outside.
Mhm.
So, if people are overwhelmed by the health and fitness industry, start small
Mhm.
and start with one. I always recommend starting with nutrition because you need to heal the
Mhm.
inside first. And
Yes.
if you think going to the gym is too intimidating or you haven't worked out in years, let's put that on the back burner. Let's just focus on your
Mhm.
nutrition. And everybody says that, you know, your bodies are made in the kitchen, and it's like an 80-20 thing, like 80%
Mhm.
nutrition, 20% fitness.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
100% agree with that.
I do
There
too.
have been so many of my clients that just working out isn't their thing. So like
Mhm.
we do other things like take 10-minute walks. And
Mhm.
besides that, we just focus on nutrition, and they have seen so much success.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so good. I shared part of my story was I lost a little over 30 pounds before I even thought about working out again. Um,
Yes.
and I started working out again because my energy had increased from how I was fueling my body that I was driving my
Yeah.
roommates crazy. And they were like, please go do something with that energy. And that's
Yes.
why I
Yes.
started working out. It was from the
Yes.
inside out.
Exactly. And I love that. And that I think
Yeah.
that's how it should be, honestly.
Mhm.
If you're working out and not fueling your body, you're gonna hate working out,
Mhm.
and you're not gonna feel the way that you want to feel, nor are you
Yeah.
gonna see the results that you want to see. So
Right.
then you'll create this cycle, "Well, I tried to work out and it didn't work for me," you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and I think your thing that you said the other day, like, how moving your body is just a celebration, like,
Mhm.
that's how it should be. Like, you should have
Yes.
enough energy to work out, especially being young, but at any point in your life, like, our moms are my mom is in her 50s, and, like,
Mhm.
she
Same.
still works
Yeah.
out. Yeah. She still works out every single day, and
Mhm.
I just feel like they even have so much energy because they have focused on the inside out.
Yes. Yes. And
Yes.
not everyone at that age can say that. And they think that that's
Yeah.
normal, but that's just because that's how America is eating now, and that's not how America needs to eat.
Yes. And I think people think it's normal to it's so interesting because people don't realize how bad they feel until they feel good.
Yes.
And
'Cause
then
that's been their
they
normal,
look
it's all
back
they've
on it.
known.
Exactly, and they look back on it and be like, "What? I mean, I had to take a 20-minute nap before I went out to a Friday night dinner at 7 PM." You know,
Yes.
like, you napping is healthy, but you shouldn't have to, like, rely on you shouldn't have to
Mhm.
have a crutch just to have energy, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so let's dig in, Coach Kenzie, and
Okay,
tell me,
yes.
what is the best or most important advice that you give your clients?
Okay, so like I had mentioned, always start small.
Mhm.
I have to do this in my personal life and having my own businesses, like, or if I ever want to change anything, I do it very small. So
Mhm.
if your goal is to post the entire month of Instagram and you
Mhm.
want to become like a social media guru, and
Mhm.
there's all these different things like reels, stories, Instagram posts,
Mhm.
IGTVs, and that type of thing. Start small. So the first week, you just post once a day. One
Mhm.
Instagram post. The
Mhm.
next week, you do one Instagram post every single day and maybe like one live story
Mhm.
and that type of thing. So you add in so small, and that way you don't overwhelm yourself because I
Mhm.
find if like a lot of people have this all or nothing mentality,
Yeah.
and that's not how it should be.
Mhm.
So and I think the all or nothing mentality really wrecks a lot of people, and
Mhm.
I even struggle with that sometimes. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then as soon as I don't do one of those things, it's like, well, I can't do any of them. Like it doesn't
Yep.
even matter. I just don't have to do any of them anymore.
Mhm.
And so, um, start small is the first thing I always tell people. And I think this next thing kind of goes with that. Progress, not perfection. And I have applied
Yes.
that. That's something that the faster way has like they preach it, but not only in health and nutrition, but like other areas of life.
Mhm.
So, spiritually or um, in your personal work life or,
Mhm.
friendships or anything like that, like progress, not perfection. Um, so, if you can do something for 2 days, that's great. And if you mess up on the third day, that's okay. Just,
Right.
pick up the next day. And this
Mhm.
goes into I think that I read a book, Atomic Habits, and he
Yes,
talks
good
about
book.
that.
Good
So
book.
creating habits, like really sit down with yourself and evaluate what you're doing in everyday life and what's benefiting you and what's just kind of like, I guess, mindlessly filling the day, like scrolling on Instagram for an hour.
Mhm.
um, uh, and when you're creating a new habit, do it for one day, do it the next day, do it the third day. If you miss it the fourth day, that's okay. But if you miss it again the fifth day, it's not going to work out and you won't be able to create it as a habit. And
Mhm.
so just finding things that personally work for you, like
Yeah.
I think that's really important because
Mhm.
just with like working out, like not everybody loves to run. Well, if you don't
Right.
like to run, then don't run. Like do something that like you'll
Yeah.
consistently do and that makes you feel good.
Mhm.
Um and then the last thing is think of things you can add in more of rather than thinking you're taking them away.
Yes.
So like a food thing instead of telling yourself like well, I'm going like on this diet, I can't eat bread or that
Mhm.
type of thing. Instead of telling yourself you're going to eat less bread, eat more rice.
Yeah.
It's still a carb. It will fill your carb goal, you know?
Mhm.
Except it will, you know, it's a whole food like dense nutrient carb.
Mhm.
So you know, that's the better option. But
Yeah.
I just think that kind of mentality is, and I think that goes back to the all or nothing mentality too.
Mhm.
Um, so just trying to start small and like, especially start small with changing their mentality of
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
I think is really helpful.
Girl, that's so good. I mean, my, like, taglines at the end of every single episode are, "The goal is to be better, not perfect."
Love
Um,
it.
and then, do something to get 1% better today, because that
Yeah.
1% better today will lead to more tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and then before you know it,
Yes.
you're a whole lot better and didn't even mean to be, really. Like
Yes. No, I 100% agree. And I through this new nutrition course I'm taking, they always say take 5 minutes to do something that will set you up for your future. So
yes.
one thing that I like going through that course, I was like, you know what? I need to take 5 minutes today to fill out my planner and time block my day tomorrow to set me up to have a successful and productive day, you know?
Yes.
So, like little things like that. Take 5 minutes in your morning and plan what you're going to have for breakfast. And if you still have like 3 minutes left, go ahead and plan what you're going to have for lunch. So
Yeah.
you already know, like, okay, I know what I'm eating breakfast and lunch. I'm on track for the
Mhm.
day, you know?
Yeah.
So that
Yes.
type of thing. Yeah,
Little things make a big difference. That's so
I
good.
agree. Yes.
Okay, Kenzie, my last question for you. I
Okay.
just wanna know, we ask everyone that comes on, how are you being a playmaker in your current season of life right now?
Okay. So to me, a playmaker is being present and
Mm.
uh, I guess constantly working or challenging yourself.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
So I said that. Well, I just think I'm in a weird in between phase of
Mhm.
life, especially with COVID, and then you know I'm only 2 years. This will be my second year out of college. I think
Mhm.
I graduated in 2019.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Math.
So I just I went to school for a integrated strategic communications degree. Graduated
Mhm.
with that. I used that right out of school, but I not that I have anything against corporate jobs. I just know that
Mhm.
it's not for me and I would not thrive.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so picking up little side jobs here and there has kind of like always been what I've done.
Mhm.
And especially out of college with like social media, I did a bunch of different things with social media. And then um, when COVID hit, it's just kind of like the world crumbled
Yeah.
and I had to reevaluate. But also, I really, when I started nannying the kids, loved, is when I realized that I loved helping others. Like, I got to help them
Mhm.
every single day after school. And homework and school was not my thing growing up, but
Mhm.
I was forced to figure out a way to help them understand why that fraction is a fraction and how we got
Right.
there, you know?
Mhm.
And so and I just loved that because it challenged myself, but I also like got to explain it to them in a way that
Yeah.
they and you know, that's when I noticed that I loved to help others.
Mhm.
And then that's kind of how I got onto the path of like, well, I feel so good and I have energy and confidence. I want to help others in that path.
Mhm.
So, I decided to become personal trainer certified during COVID. Started doing online training sessions with live videos and clients online. And then in December, when gyms opened back up, I was hired in a gym and now I train people in person, which I love
That's
because
awesome.
being with people, it gives me so much energy and I love
Yes.
interacting with others.
Mhm.
I am a people person. So in this weird phase of in between life of trying to be established, but also figure out where I want to go,
Mhm.
I'm being a playmaker in allowing myself to follow my dreams while I can. So, you know, I do have different form of incomes that allows me to like I would love to have a successful health and fitness blog. So
Yeah.
it allows me to pursue my dreams, which I think is really
Mhm.
important, especially being so young. Um, I'm further educating myself. So I became a personal trainer, and now I'm doing an online nutrition course.
Mhm.
And then I feel like always just having like a beginner's mind or an open mind to things.
Yeah.
So like I was totally content with doing the online training and just training people virtually. But when
Mhm.
somebody asked me if I could come into the gym and come in for an interview, like I jumped at the opportunity because like that's just a new way to learn and a more
Yeah.
hands-on way to learn. So I think
Yes.
in my current season of life, I'm being a playmaker by further educating myself and allowing me to um, fulfill my dreams that I feel like God has like instilled with me.
Mhm.
It's so weird. Like this is a little side story. So I've when social media was a thing, or Instagram became a thing when I was the freshman in high school. That's
Mhm.
I feel like when blogging was like huge and they used blogging on so many different social media platforms.
Mhm.
I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a fashion influencer and that type of thing. Throughout college, still had that desire.
Mhm.
I still have that desire to influence people, but in a different way, more health
Mhm.
and fitness wise, because I feel like I'm educated on that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but my dad he's an entrepreneur, has his own business. And so I think that also just like growing up in a household where you come from that, I think that's why I kind of just knew like I would not thrive in a 9 to 5. Like it just
Right.
would not be for me.
Mhm.
Um, one of his uh, business partners was in town, and I had never met him. He did not know anything about me.
Mhm.
Um, and he met me and asked me what I was doing because he had like asked me if I was still in school. I had said that I had been, out of school for a few years and still just trying to figure it out. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Well, why don't you be an influencer like your dad?" I was like, "Okay, you literally don't know me, and that's like my biggest dream." And so for the fact that a stranger sat there and was like I just feel like you have so much knowledge to share with others, and that I just have the personality to influence others easily and
Mhm.
organically, like that was a God wink to me.
Yeah.
Also, um, just being completely transparent, I've had 2 or 3 job interviews over like since COVID, all for like either other personal training jobs in the gym or, um, like I'm more of 9 to 5 because
Mhm.
I don't know. After school, I just felt like I had to have it all together, and sometimes I
Right.
still feel like that, and I don't even have like I guess like a yearly salary. Like
Mhm.
personal trainers are paid very differently, and then nannying is also you're paid very differently. Like I'm either
Yeah.
paid weekly or every 2 weeks, but
Mhm.
it's the money isn't super stable, you know?
Right.
So I wanted to like have stable income and feel just established and secure.
Yeah.
And didn't get any of the jobs. And not because I wasn't like, not because I wasn't like certified for those jobs, but it just
Uh-huh.
didn't work out. And like to me
Yeah.
that is another sign like okay, well if I'm not going to have those if those job opportunities didn't work out, we're going to just pursue your actual dreams while you can. Like I don't have a
Mhm.
9 to 5, so I fully can pursue my dreams. And
Yeah.
I just need to something I'm working on is like giving myself the confidence to do that because it is
Mhm.
scary. Like I don't want to fail. But then I
Yes.
also go back and like I don't want to fail, but I also go back and forth and tell myself like you wouldn't fail, you would learn from the outcome, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like this constant battle of just being scared. And I guess
Mhm.
if I am scared to do something, it means that it's going to challenge me and we need challenges to grow.
Yes. Yes, we do. That is
Yeah.
so good.
That was like a
Oh,
long
so
tangent.
good.
So sorry.
No, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. And like what you were saying with pursuing your dreams, it reminded me, and I've mentioned this before on here. Brendan Burchard, who is one of my favorite people to follow, he is just an
Mhm.
amazing life coach. And he said one day when I am face to face with Jesus, he's like, I can just see him asking me, like, how faithful were you to pursue the dreams that I sowed into your heart?
I
And
love
I
that.
was like, wow,
I
because
literally just
we
got chills.
all, right? We all have a dream and it didn't come from nowhere. Like the
Yeah.
Lord has made you Kenzie sinners to
Yes.
go out and do big things and serve people. And like that dream wasn't an accident. And so I love
Yeah.
hearing how you are going and pursuing that. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes. Well, I feel like I definitely have challenged God trying to get another job, and He just reminds me that's not the path for me.
Yes. Yes, he does. It's
Yes.
like it's literally Thomas Rhett's song, like, "You make plans and you hear God laughing," like, no kidding. No
Yeah, no,
kidding.
seriously. Yeah.
Mhm. No,
Yes.
so good. Well, I want you to plug yourself. Tell us, where can we find you on social media, your website,
Yes.
everything? How can we get in contact with you?
Yes. So my website is kenziedanielle.com. My Instagram, which is like my favorite platform ever, is the Kenzie Danielle, and you can reach me there. And if you have any questions or just want to talk about anything, you can DM me, and that's probably the best way to reach me.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I
Yes.
have loved every single second of this. Thank you so much
No,
for
I have
coming
too.
on.
Thank
Oh, this has
you.
been amazing. All right,
Yes.
guys. Well, y'all know what we always say. The goal is not to be perfect, it's to be better. So go out and do something today to get 1% better.